imagine if you are born in Sparta, not Athens, with its plays and philosophers, not Corinth, with its shiny ports. No, you're Spartan, which means congratulations. You are not a baby. You are government property. The moment you come out of your mother's womb, you don't even get a hug. You get an inspection. Two men in rough cloaks, scarred veterans, stand over you. They don't smile. They don't say, "Aw, how cute." They check your arms, your chest, your legs. You are treated like cattle at a market, like a horse someone wants to bet on. If you look strong, good. You live. If you look weak, too small, too thin, one eye slightly off. They take you, and they march you to the edge of a cliff. Yes, the famous Apatete, the pit where defective Spartan babies went. Other Greek cities have cemeteries. Sparta. Sparta has a baby recycling program. Now imagine you are that baby, barely 1 day old. You don't know words. But your first experience of the world is a committee deciding if you're worth the trouble. Talk about a performance review. And if you pass, congratulations again. You get to stay. But don't celebrate. Because in Sparta, surviving birth is not winning. It's just level 1. Your crib isn't soft. It's not lined with cotton. No lullabies. You get a wooden trough. Your mother rubs you down with olive oil and wine. Not because she cares about skincare, but because Sparta believes it toughens your skin. Wine baths for babies. Forget baby lotion. You get marinated like a salad. Now imagine the smell. Your tiny body stings. You cry. But in Sparta, crying is a red flag. If you cry too much. Maybe you're weak. Maybe you won't last. So even as a newborn, you learn the first Spartan lesson. Suffer quietly. Compare this to Athens. Athens babies get amulets, soft blankets, lullabies. Spartan babies. You get inspected, oiled like an athlete, and told, better not die, or else. This is not childhood. This is a trial version of the army, and here's the real kicker. Even your name doesn't really belong to your parents. It belongs to the state. Your father registers you with the city, like a soldier signing a weapon into inventory. You are not baby boy Leonidas. You are future soldier number 34, aisle 5. So, imagine lying there, wrapped in rough wool. Your mom is tired. Your dad proud. And the city already sees you not as a child, but as a potential corpse on a battlefield. That's the Spartan way. Imagine if your first words of wisdom don't come from your father, not from a teacher, not from a priest. They come from your mom, and it's not, I love you. It's not, you can be anything you want. No. Your mom looks you in the eye and says, come back with your shield or on it. That's it. That's the full pep talk. Translation. Win. Or die trying. But don't you dare come home a coward. Now pause for a second. Other Greek kids, they get bedtime stories. Athens moms sing lullabies. Tell tales of Zeus and Hera. Maybe a cute story about Apollo chasing nymphs. Your mom, she gives you an early motivational speech that doubles as a death threat. And here's the fun part. She means it. Spartan women didn't want sons who lived. They wanted sons who made them look good when they died. Because in Sparta, being the mom of a hero equaled instant respect. Being the mom of a coward equals social death. So your mom's reputation rides entirely on whether you die in a glorious way. Imagine you're 5, you're learning to walk straight, and your mom is already rehearsing your obituary. She doesn't say, don't scrape your knees. She says, don't shame this family. Now think about the psychological trauma in America today. Parents argue over whether to send kids to piano lessons or soccer practice. In Sparta, moms argue over whether their sons will get stabbed in the front or in the back. Big difference. And the moms were terrifying. Spartan women had more freedom than other Greek women. They owned land. They could inherit property, but they also weaponized motherhood. They raised boys like coaches, not caretakers. If you whined, they ignored you. If you cried, they mocked you Imagine your mom seeing you sob after falling down, and instead of kissing your wound, she calls you weak and tells the neighbors, this isn't just tough love. This is tough or die love. Your mom isn't just raising you. She's pre-programming you. Like downloading war, XC straight into your childhood. So when you're 7 and they send you off to the Agoge, don't expect tears. Don't expect hugs. Your mom doesn't cry at the gate. She smiles. Because if you die in training, that's still better than coming home soft. And you stand there, tiny, nervous, holding a little wooden shield. Your mom leans down. Her voice is calm, her eyes sharp, and she repeats, come back with your shield or on it. Imagine being 7 years old and realizing your mom doesn't want you safe. She wants you legendary, and that's the Spartan childhood. Imagine being a kid anywhere else in Greece. You'd have toys. Athens kids get little clay dolls. Corinth kids get carved animals. Maybe a wooden horse. You're in Sparta. Your toys. Other kids. And the game is beating each other up. No marbles. No toy soldiers. You get fists. You get wrestling. You get pain. Your playground is a dusty training yard. The swings. They don't exist. The slide. Nope. Your entire playset is just dirt. Rocks. And the chance to see which child bleeds first? Imagine dodgeball. Except instead of rubber balls, it's stones. And instead of you're out, it's you're unconscious. The adults don't stop it. They encourage it. Every bruise equals progress. Every broken nose equals lesson learned. If you lose, too bad. That's Sparta's version of participation trophy, which is none. And they don't just train your body, they train your stomach. Your meals are tiny. Your belly growls constantly. So, what do you do as a kid? You steal. That's not misbehavior. That's curriculum. But here's the twist. If you steal food and succeed, everyone praises you. If you steal food and get caught, they beat you until you wish you were dead. So imagine being 8, hungry, desperate, sneaking bread under your cloak. You don't fear starvation. You fear being clumsy about stealing. That's Sparta, a society where theft is a skill, and bad theft gets you more pain than hunger ever could. And then there are the endurance games. Other Greek kids play tag. You play who can hold their arm in freezing water the longest. Other Greek kids race on beaches. You race carrying rocks until your spine gives out. Other kids collect seashells. You collect scars. The whole childhood is one big experiment. How much pain can you take? How long before you break? Because Sparta believes if you can't handle childhood pain, you'll never handle adult war. So picture yourself 10 years old, skinny, dirty, hungry, your knees scraped, your lips cracked. You don't remember what it's like to be full, and yet you look around. All the other boys are just like you, tired, bloody, grinning through broken teeth. And that's the game. That's childhood in Sparta. A non-stop UFC tournament. And nobody taps out. Imagine you're 7 years old. In most places, that means school, learning the alphabet, drawing with crayons, singing silly songs with other kids. But you're Spartan. At 7, you get drafted into the Agoge, the most brutal boarding school in human history. Forget pencils. Forget books. Your classroom is a dirt yard. Your homework is survival. Your teacher is pain. On your first day, you're marched away from your family. No hugs. No first day of school photo. No mom sneaking a tear. She doesn't cry. She's proud. Because you leaving home means Sparta is getting what it wants. Another weapon. Now imagine standing there. You're small. Nervous. Other boys just as scared as you. And the older Spartans look at you like meat. Not like classmates. Like recruits. Like fresh blood. Because that's what you are. Fresh blood. Life in the Agoge. It's simple. Eat little. Train hard. Obey always. Food is deliberately scarce. You are constantly hungry. The state wants you sharp. Desperate. Resourceful. So they encourage you to steal. Yes, steal. If you sneak food and succeed, you're clever. If you sneak food and get caught, you're beaten within an inch of your life. The lesson? Not don't steal. The lesson is don't get caught. Imagine a school system where the grading scale is A stole food perfectly, FEO hospitalized, and then there's the beatings. Not punishment, not discipline. Beatings are part of the curriculum. They whip you to toughen you. They make you fight until you collapse. If you cry, you're shamed. If you flinch, you're ridiculed. Imagine PE class. But the goal isn't fitness. The goal is to erase your fear, and you sleep outside. No cozy bed. No blanket. Just reeds. Straw. Maybe a ragged cloak if you're lucky. The cold cuts through your bones. The bugs bite you all night. But you learn to love it. Because weakness is worse than suffering. Oh, and remember, you're 7. Most kids at 7 still believe in monsters under the bed. Your monsters, they are your instructors. And they don't hide under your bed. They beat you while you try to sleep on the ground. The Agoge takes away your childhood, your comfort, your softness, even your family. And in return, it gives you one thing. Not education, not culture. It gives you muscle, obedience, and the ability to kill on command. So imagine yourself lying on the cold ground, your belly empty, your back sore from the whip, other boys breathing next to you, just as broken, just as hungry. And you realize you're not a kid anymore. You're a trainee weapon. And the state won't stop until you're sharp enough to cut. Imagine you've survived your first months at the Agoge. You're 7, maybe 8. You think you've seen the worst? The hunger, the cold, the beatings for stealing badly. You're wrong. Because now comes the real education. And it's not reading. It's not math. It's not music. It's pain. Sure. They give you a scrap of literacy, enough to sign your name, count spears, read orders, but the real curriculum is written on your skin. Scars are your homework. Bruises are your textbooks. The whip, that's your pen. Every morning you line up, barefoot, hungry, silent. The instructors walk down the row, inspecting you like cattle. Their hands are calloused, their eyes cold. They don't ask, did you study? They ask, did you toughen? Then the drills start. Running on sharp stones until your feet bleed. Holding heavy logs until your arms shake. Standing still while they strike you with rods. And you're not allowed to flinch. Imagine gym class. But the goal isn't fitness. The goal is to erase fear. And if you cry, they laugh. If you beg, they hit harder. If you pass out, they drag you up and start again. There's no timeout, no safe word, no teacher-student conference, just pain, and your ability to endure it. Other Greek kids bring home clay tablets. You bring home bruises. Other Greek kids get gold stars. You get scars. Your father sees the welts on your back. He nods, proud. Your mother hears you cracked a rib. She smiles. Because in Sparta, suffering is progress, and surviving is a grade. The strangest part, these aren't punishments. These are lessons. They believe pain is a teacher, and fear is a disease. So they beat it out of you. Imagine your school posting tomorrow's schedule. Athens. Geometry test at 10. 0-0. Sparta. Whipping marathon at dawn. Slowly, you learn the Spartan alphabet. A elo anguish. B elo bruise. C elo cut. You don't write essays. You write endurance into your muscles. By 9 years old, you know things no child should know. How to stand still as blood trickles down your back. How to bite your tongue until it bleeds so you don't make a sound. How to stare at your instructor and smile while you're in agony. This is not discipline the way modern people use the word. This is body modification of the soul. And yet, somewhere in that pain, you start to feel proud. Because if you can take the whip, if you can hold still through the beatings, if you can stay silent while your skin burns, you start to believe you're becoming what Sparta wants. Not a boy, not a student, a weapon. So imagine yourself 8 years old, skinny, half starved, standing in a row with other kids, your hands behind your back, your chin up, the rod lands on your shoulders. The pain explodes. You don't move, you don't cry, you just breathe. And for the first time, you see your instructor give the smallest nod. Congratulations. You just got an A in Pain 101. Imagine your classmates. They're not just kids. They're not just friends. They're your tormentors. And your family. At the same time, the Agoge throws you into groups. Shared barracks. Shared scraps of food. Shared punishment. You eat together. You train together. You sleep side by side. On hard straw mats. But every day, you also test each other. Push each other. Humiliate each other. Because in Sparta, brotherhood is forged in cruelty. Older boys are placed over you. They're not mentors. They're drill sergeants with puberty. Teenagers with power. Imagine being 9 years old, and your babysitter is a 15-year-old sociopath with permission to beat you. And he does, not just because he can, but because it's the system. If you're lazy, he hits you. If you hesitate, he hits you. If you cry, he hits you harder. The point isn't punishment. It's obedience. You learn to fear older Spartans like gods. You learn to obey before the command even finishes, like a dog trained to sit before hearing the word. But here's the strange thing. That fear turns into loyalty because every boy is going through it. Every boy has been humiliated, beaten, broken, and every boy understands the pain. So you bond. Through bruises, through blood, through silence under the whip. It's like a fraternity. But strip away the beer, the parties, the music. What's left? The hazing, all hazing. Forever. That's Sparta. And the competition never stops. Who can go longest without food? Who can endure the harshest beating without making a sound? Who can steal without being caught? Every success earns respect. Every failure earns humiliation. And humiliation burns deeper than bruises. But slowly, something changes. You don't hate the ones who bully you. You start to admire them. Because they survived before you. Because they endured more than you. Because they became what you're trying to be. So by 13, 14, your brothers are the only family you trust. Not your mother. Not your father. Not your blood. Just these half-starved, scarred kids who share your pain. Imagine lying awake at night. The straw scratching your skin. Your stomach aching from hunger. Your back raw from the whip. Next to you, another boy stares at the ceiling. You don't talk. You don't need to. You both know the same truth. You don't belong to yourselves anymore. You belong to Sparta. And to each other. Imagine you're a Spartan teenager. You survived the hunger, the cold, the endless whippings. You think maybe, just maybe now, life gets easier. Spoiler. It doesn't, because now Sparta gives you your very first job, not a trade, not an apprenticeship, not even farming. Your first job is murder. It's called the Cryptia. Sounds like a secret society. Mysterious. Elite. Like you're joining a medieval fraternity, but it's not. It's Sparta's teenage death squad. Here's how it works. Every year, Sparta's leaders declare war on the Helots, the enslaved population. Why? Because the Helots outnumber Spartans, and a terrified slave is a loyal slave. So they send you a teenager out into the countryside at night. Your mission? Kill Helots. No trial. No reason. No mercy. Imagine being 15. Other kids your age are sneaking out to flirt. You're sneaking out with a knife, looking for peasants to stab in the dark. You stalk fields at midnight, hide in barns, wait by village paths. If you see a Helot who looks strong, who looks rebellious, you kill him. If you see someone who's just unlucky enough to be outside at the wrong time, you kill him too. That's the job description. This isn't about justice. This isn't about law. This is about control. It's not keep the peace. It's keep the slaves terrified. And you are the fear factory. Now imagine your first night. The moon is pale, the air cold. You and two other boys crouch in the tall grass. Your heart is pounding. Not from guilt, from adrenaline. You see a shadow, a man carrying firewood. He doesn't see you. And you move, silent, quick. Like you were trained. It's over in seconds. The man drops, the wood scatters, the silence returns. And you stand there, 15 years old, blood on your hands. And the only thought in your head is, Sparta will be proud. Compare this to other teenage rites of passage. Athens. Learn poetry, philosophy, politics. Sparta. Murder a man before breakfast. The Cryptia teaches you two things. 1. Life means nothing. 2. Loyalty means everything. Because when you return from the fields at dawn, you don't cry. You don't confess. You nod to your instructors, and they nod back. No praise. No punishment. Just silent approval. Imagine growing up like this. Killing as homework. Fear as a lifestyle. Obedience as oxygen. By the time you're 17, you don't flinch at blood. You don't hesitate at commands. You don't question Sparta. You just kill. Because that's what you were trained to do. Imagine you've survived it all. The hunger, the beatings, the thefts, the death squad nights. You're no longer a child. But you're not really a man either. You're something else. At 18, your body is carved like stone. Every rib shows. Every muscle taut. Your hands are calloused. Your feet scarred from years of running barefoot on rocks. You're strong. But it's not natural strength. It's forged. Like iron pulled screaming from fire. Your mind? Empty. Except for one program? Obey. You don't think about poetry. You don't dream about love. You don't wonder who you might become. Because you already know. Sparta has decided for you. You are a soldier. Period. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, not the polished bronze of Athens, but a dented scrap of metal hanging on the wall. You look into it, and you don't recognize the boy you once were. The kid who wanted toys. Gone. The child who longed for warmth. Erased. The teenager who snuck through fields with a knife. Hardened. What's left? A weapon. Breathing. Waiting. And Sparta loves it. The state looks at you and doesn't see a person. It sees a blade. Sharp. Silent. Useful. You're not trained to question. You're not trained to doubt. You're trained to kill. And die when commanded. Compare this to Athens. At 18, Athenian boys studied philosophy, debated democracy, wrote plays. At 18 in Sparta, you are a walking murder machine, with less emotional range than a rock. And you start to feel it. Deep down, in the quiet moments between drills, you know you've lost something. Your childhood, your freedom, your sense of self. But there's no room for regret. Because regret is weakness. And weakness gets beaten out of you. So you bury it. You bury every fear, every hope, every part of you that isn't Spartan, until nothing's left but steel. Now imagine standing in formation, sun burning your back, spear heavy in your hand, shield strapped to your arm. You don't feel pride. You don't feel joy. You don't even feel anger. You feel nothing. And that's the point. Sparta didn't just train you. It erased you, and in your place, it built a perfect soldier, a living weapon. Imagine you're 20 years old. In Athens, that means freedom. You choose a trade. You study philosophy. You flirt in the marketplace. In Sparta, you don't get freedom. You get a wife. But here's the twist. You don't get love. You don't get choice. You don't even get to live with her. The Spartan wedding is not romantic. It's a business transaction with extra humiliation. Step 1. The bride is kidnapped. Yes, kidnapped. She's dragged away by her friends. Her head shaved bald. Her dress swapped for a man's cloak and sandals. Congratulations. That's your wedding night. You staring at your bald wife, who looks more like another soldier than a bride. And then the ceremony, it's short. It's cold. No flowers. No music. No feast. Just an exchange. Like trading livestock. Except the livestock is your new life partner. Now imagine your wedding reception. Other Greeks drink wine, dance, sing love songs. You shake hands with the elders and go back to the barracks. Because here's the scam. Marriage doesn't mean moving in together. You still sleep in the communal hall, snoring next to 30 other sweaty men. Your wife, she's alone, in an empty house. You're allowed to visit her, but only at night, only in secret. You sneak through the dark like a criminal. Imagine Tinder. But you only get one match, chosen by the government, and the only date available is a midnight hookup before sneaking back to your bunk. Romance. Spartan style. And here's the kicker. The state wants it this way. Why? Because love is dangerous. Attachment is dangerous. If you love your wife more than Sparta, you might hesitate on the battlefield. So Sparta breaks even that. You're married, but loyalty is still chained to the state. So picture yourself, 20 years old, married, but not free, sneaking into your own house like a thief, whispering to your wife in the dark, then running back before dawn. That's not romance. That's state-approved breeding. And it's the closest thing to love you'll ever get. Imagine you're married. You have a wife. You have a home, at least on paper. But in reality, you still sleep in the barracks. The barracks is not a home. It's a locker room that never ends. The air stinks of sweat, leather, and pig's blood. The straw mats itch. The walls drip with condensation. Privacy doesn't exist. You eat, sleep, snore, fart, all together, with 30 other men. Congratulations. You're 20, and your roommates never move out. Meals, always the same. Black broth. It's pig's blood, vinegar, and despair, served steaming hot in a communal bowl. Other Greek cities have feasts, wine, olives, cheese, lamb. Sparta has soup that tastes like sadness. Imagine if cafeteria food and cough syrup had a baby. That's black broth. And you can't complain. If you gag, you're mocked. If you refuse, you're punished. So you choke it down. Because in Sparta, appetite is weakness. And complaining about food, that's treason. Now picture the daily routine. Dawn, training. Midday, drills. Evening, more drills. Night, collapse on your mat. Shoulder to shoulder with snoring men. This isn't a phase. This isn't temporary. This is adulthood. Other Greeks at this age are debating politics, arguing philosophy, writing plays. You're arguing about who sharpened their spear wrong, or whose shield smells worse. The barrack strips away individuality. No one gets special treatment. No one gets luxury. You don't even get furniture. Just a mat, a shield, a spear, and misery. So imagine yourself 25 years old, strong as stone, emotionless as a statue, but still eating pig's blood soup, still sleeping with 30 sweaty men, still owned by Sparta. Marriage didn't free you. Adulthood didn't free you. Nothing frees you because your life belongs to the barracks. And the barracks belongs to Sparta. Imagine you've spent 2 decades training, the hunger, the whippings, the barracks, the midnight sneaking to your wife's house like a burglar, all of it for this moment. War, the Persians are coming, tens of thousands of them. And you're one of 300 Spartans sent to block the gates of Thermopylae. This is it. The final exam, the graduation ceremony. Except instead of diplomas, the reward is death. You march to the hot gates, your shield heavy, your spear steady, your sandals worn down to nothing. Around you, other Spartans. Brothers forged in the same misery, each one silent, each one ready, because there's nothing left to be afraid of. Fear was beaten out of you when you were 7. And then the Persians arrive. The horizon turns black. The earth shakes with their marching. Drums pound like thunder. It's absurd. You're outnumbered, maybe 50 to 1. But you don't laugh. You don't panic. You form the line, shields up, spears forward. The phalanx locks together, a human wall of muscle, bronze, and obedience. And when the first wave crashes, you feel it. The impact rattles your bones. The screams echo. The air fills with dust and blood, but you don't move. You don't break. Because you can't. You've been trained for this exact moment your whole life. Every bruise, every scar, every empty stomach, every night in the cold, it all leads here. Arrows blot out the sun, and a Spartan next to you jokes, "Good. Then we'll fight in the shade." The line doesn't falter. You stab. You push. You hold. It's not glory. It's not heroism. It's muscle memory. You fight because that's all you know how to do. And as the hours turn to days, you feel your strength fading. The Persians keep coming, wave after wave after wave. And deep down, you know the truth. This is not a battle you're meant to win. This is a performance, a bloody theater show for history. Imagine standing there, blood pouring from cuts, arms heavy, legs trembling. And yet, you don't step back. You can't, because retreat is worse than death. Cowardice is the only grade you can't survive. So you push forward, one last time, until the line collapses, until the Persians swarm, until your spear snaps, your shield breaks, your body falls, and the world goes silent. War wasn't a test. It wasn't even graduation. It was Sparta collecting what it owned, your life. Imagine you're lying on the battlefield, arrows in your chest, blood in your mouth, the sound of clashing metal fading away. You've done it. You gave Sparta everything. Your body, your childhood, your freedom, and now your life. You close your eyes, expecting peace, but peace never comes. Because Sparta doesn't give you peace. Sparta gives you legacy. The Persians march on. The world moves forward. But your name, your sacrifice, it becomes legend. The kind of legend whispered by poets, told by historians, admired by kings. Sounds glorious, right? Here's the punchline. 2,000 years later, no one cares about your pain. They don't care about your hunger. They don't care about the childhood you never had. They care about one thing, one line, one meme. This is Sparta. That's it. Your whole existence flattened into a catchphrase. Not the suffering, not the whippings, not the barracks, not the tears you swallowed when you were 7, just Gerard Butler, screaming into the camera, kicking someone into a CGI pit. Imagine that. You died for Sparta. You became a ghost of discipline, a weapon of flesh, and the world remembers you. As a GIF on Reddit, as a meme on TikTok, as a joke yelled at parties when someone pushes too hard at beer pong. Not philosopher, not artist, not free man, just the original gym bro. So the next time someone yells, "This is Sparta," remember what it really means. It means a baby inspected like cattle, a child starved and beaten, a teenager sent to murder peasants at night, a man chained to the barracks until death. It means a lifetime of obedience, of brutality, of pain, all for glory you'll never feel. Imagine if you are that Spartan child, born, beaten, broken, raised not to live, but to die. And history turns you not into a man, not even into a hero, but into a meme